The Indian women's team lost their match against Russia and had to settle for silver, but it's very important to appreciate the contributions and efforts of the entire team as they've created history by winning the medal in the World Women's FIDE Team Championship. They've got silver. This is the first medal for India, so kudos to the entire team. Now, let's look at the results. In the first match, we lost by a narrow margin, and in the second match, we were under pressure and we lost 3-1. Now, let's take a look at the games I have. First, I have the game between Gurachkina and Harika, and Harika won this game. She played the semi-slav, and the critical position again after queen c2 is this one. Here she came up with a new move, rook e8, which was not played before. Harika has shown great opening preparation throughout the event. In this position after rook e8, her idea is to play e5. And after bishop d2, she first plays b4, making sure that white doesn't get a chance to play bishop c3 to prevent our e5 pawn break. And after rook d1, she got the e5 break. And at one moment, she was starting to take over. But there's one critical moment where white had actually got a chance after bishop a6. In this position, after b3, Harika should have just put the rook on d8 or played bishop c7, but she played bishop a6, and after e5, the pawn on d5 is lost. So this would have been a great chance for Gurachkina, but she played queen d3, and Harika immediately took bishop into c4 and then protected the pawn on d4. And this pawn on d4 was a passed pawn, and it was not possible for white to keep it under a lock and key, and Harika went on to win this game. Next, we have the game between Vaishali and Kostyuk, but before that, I wish to also inform you that Harika won the bronze medal for board 1, and Marianne Gomes won the bronze medal for board 5. So congratulations to both of them. Next, I have a game between Vaishali and Kostyuk. In this game, the turning point was this position after bishop e5. I think we would have got a half point here, but after bishop into e5, she played rook d5, which was a blunder because immediately loses the exchange after fe4. She could have played something like rook d1, and if fe4, just king e4, and then rook d5. This was a way to keep the balance, but after bishop e5, rook d5, black got an exchange with fe5 and rook f4. The king cannot protect the rook anymore because if you take king takes e5, there is a rook check and the rook falls. So thus, Vaishali lost her game, and now the scores were level. Next, we have Lagno Kachina versus Bhakti Kulkarni, and Bhakti chose a very ambitious approach in this game with g5, which was very risky in my view, and she probably wanted to put a lot of pressure on her opponent. Strategically, I think with pawn g5, the king is very much exposed, but yeah, the complications were always in white's favor. Objectively also, the position is better for white, and after a few moves, it was clear that white is the one who is taking things forward. And there was one moment where I think she had a chance to equalize. After bc5, she could have played bishop e3 check and then played bishop g4, because this rook is anyway not doing anything on a8. If at g4, then the rook can be taken. If rook a8, then the d1 rook can be taken. This was the last chance, but after bc5, knight e5, once the pawn on d2 was lost, all the counterplay is also lost. So here, if you take bishop into d2, then there is rook d2, and eventually the bishop is lost, and that's the reason the position is clearly in white's favor. So this Bhakti lost, and then we have Marianne Gomes versus Kashlinskaya. Mary was white, and she kept the same opening strategy with Reti. And in this position, after queen g5, I think white still has a stable advantage. She could have played queen takes pawn, but she probably did not do it in view of bishop into g3. Both players were playing under serious time trouble. If white has to continue playing this, then white has to go something like king f1, but it's not easy to play moves like this in time trouble. She played f4, and that seriously weakened the position, and eventually later she got half point out of this game. Next, we have the game between Harika. In their second duel, the opening choice of Harika was something that helped Gurachkina in my view, because a lot of pieces were exchanged quite early in the game. She wanted to play a game where she could put a lot of pressure on the opponent's king, but I think that the absence of minor pieces just made things easy for Goryachkina, and she was able to defend very effortlessly. White tried to get an attack on the G line, but Black always had enough resources, and I think getting a draw out of this position was already quite an accomplishment, and Harika held her nerves and drew this game. Uh, they went into an end game where obviously there are no real winning chances. Draw was a good result from the position she got out of the opening. Then in the game between Kostyanyuk and Vaishali, it looked as if Black has a great position, especially after G4, because it is only Black who has serious pawn breaks like D5 in this position, for instance, and this knight could also land on F4 if possible. This knight could land on C5. So Black has a lot of ideas to play with, but she hurried with the D5 pawn break in this position after Rook A3, after which it becomes easy for White to play move by move and equalize. So after Rook A3, she has a good chance. I think some more of waiting could have helped, but she played D5, and after these exchanges, things were easy, and eventually the game ended in a perpetual check after Knight G3, and this was the best result possible from the position after D5, I think. And then the game between Tanya and Katrina, again here we had a good chance to get half point, but that was spoiled because of this one move. That's how chess is. One move and it changes everything. In this position, White has like 4 pawns, but Black has this A pawn and it's a right color. But considering that, White can just play something like King B1 and just wait. But White played B6, which made it easy for the king to approach the pawn and capture it, as this bishop is already taking care of both the pawns, and this pawn on D6 will eventually clinch the game for Black. So that's what happened. If White had just played King B1 and then just waited, like in case of King D7, after King B1, Bishop D2, and then just King A2, we would have got half point here. But B6 was the move, which was a blunder, and Black won the game with King D7, picking the pawn and eventually reaching this position. This bishop is controlling both the pawns, and eventually Black will take this pawn and win. So she resigned here. Then the last game we have is the game between Polina Shivalova versus Marianne Gomes. I think Polina got a clear, decisive advantage from the very beginning thanks to her very good opening preparation. And here after Knight A4 and C3, and then just Knight D7 and C3, Rook C1 came, and she just collapsed here. I think White's position is very good, and the problem with the Black's position is the king side. The king is still stuck in the center. Black is lagging behind in time. One way to survive, I think, like a chance to play for a long time would be to play Rook C3 and Queen D8. But after Queen A5, the queen loses track of the 8th rank, and White played Queen B3, and in just a matter of few moves, White's position was heavily winning. So here we lost. So ultimately, I think a lot of things changed in the first match. I mean, we got win through Harika, but there were other boards which were quite shaky. And then the second match, of course, with the pressure to score, things became more difficult, and eventually India had to settle for silver. But I still think that this is a great achievement by the team, and I'm very happy that we got a medal. We must mention the contributions of coaches Abhijit Kunte and Shyam Sundar. I think a lot of things were taken care of behind the scenes. Kudos to the entire team, and again congratulations to Mary and Harika for their individual board prizes, and the entire team for the medal. And also special thanks to Niki Riga for those amazing pictures. And with that, I would like to say thank you very much for watching. Dear viewers, do pour out your congratulatory messages for Team India in the comments. I'll be back with another video soon. Until then, take care. Bye bye.